Hello folks and welcome. I am Popolamma and today we are going to be playing some Hearts of Iron 4. I'm using the Road to 56 mod, which extends the game a bit past to the end of World War II, or where it typically ends in 1945. We are going to be beginning on the 1st of January 1936, Gathering Storm. Dark times are coming in Europe, Hitler is consolidating his power, and the other fascist regimes are growing. Here we have a whole array of nations. If you've never played the base game, it is basically this. You can also play as any other country in the world, although they will not have specific focus trees and other research options and events. We are going to be playing as the Soviet Union because Stalin is just one sexy motherfucker. His history is actually very interesting. He was actually not even Russian, and as he grew up, he resorted to robbing banks to fund a little, not so well-known revolution that eventually became the Soviet Union. Anyways, let's say we're gonna be playing on Iron Man mode, and we are going to do some, I think, regular difficulty here. So I'm not a pro here. So yeah, we'll be playing this with Iron Man mode enabled and on regular difficulty. I'm not a huge pro at this game. We'll keep historical AI focuses on for now. As you can see, most of our party is communist, but let's just get into the game. So let's see what state our country is in, and just for reference, we have not initialized the 5-year plan or anything else like that. So the country is in quite poor state of production. We have 36 factories, military factories, and 42 civilian factories. So before we even begin bolstering our military might, we are going to go and increase our civilian output so that we can actually start constructing more. So I'm going to start with a decent number of factories just around Moscow in this central production area. It can also be a good idea to put a lot of factories out here, although the amount of factories that you can build is not too high. So we'll start at 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15 civilian factories and see how far that will take us. As for research, we only have 3 slots. We could start with equipment and weapons, but first I'm going to go to engineering and reduce our research time with mechanical engineering. We'll go to our industry and up our production efficiency cap, which basically means that this bar can actually go up further. And this basically represents how efficient the factories are working, to produce these different products. And for the third research, we are going to increase our construction speed. Now you'll probably notice that the mod added an expanded industry and equipment. This allows you to build steel mills, aluminum mills, clothing, which helps your infantry, your equipment, flamethrowers, whatnot. And this is a special research division, and this gives you certain bonuses for organization. You really have to pick what you want depending on what kind of army you're building. And you'll see that some of the icons have been changed and that there are new special forces, shock troops, jungle specialists, Jaegers, desert infantry, and it goes a lot further. There are new motorized, new infantry equipment. It goes quite a ways. There are new modifiers, so you can get some armor for your tanks. There's a lot. We'll delve into it later. So let's set a national focus. Looking at our national focus, we have the 5-year plan, which gives us civilian factories in certain provinces. We have the Stalin Constitution, which gives us quite a lot of political power, which we are lacking right now. So we're not getting a whole ton. Railway is great for infrastructure, transpolar flights, extra air doctrine, and this gives us extra bonuses for our navy. Permanent revolution, we would require Trotsky to return. Now, Trotsky was preferable over Stalin, but we probably don't want it just because our country will not operate like the well-oiled machine that Russia operated as during World War II. Despite the upwards of 60 or 70 million people that died, or the losses it sustained in World War II. By the end of the war, Russia was producing more weapons, tanks, airplanes, and general war goods than Germany, which was considered, one of the most kind of monstrous machinations of war in history. So that's kind of something to take into consideration. So eventually we'll want to do the Great Purge, which will really hurt us in the beginning, because it's going to purge all of these officers and other supporters of Trotsky who Stalin believed would be against his regime. And I'll just let the game play. It goes at about an hour per second, a bit less. I'll up the speed a little bit. So we'll get into that a bit later. Now, we do have free military factories, and you see we're actually running a deficit of rubber right now, but as for iron, we have a huge amount. We are needing 32,000 units of SVT-38, so it would be good to up the production of these. We also do need support equipment, which is very important for keeping our infantry divisions supplied. Towed artillery is not a large need, and actually might be better since we need less support equipment to keep this down at 2 and just work on the tanks, the towed artillery. As for the motorized, the fighters and the heavy bombers, Russia has it tough when facing off against the German Air Force. The Luftwaffe was incredibly powerful during World War II and one of the most powerful air forces in the world. They got a lot of experience flying over Spain. They almost were able to defeat the United Kingdom, if not for bad weather, firebombing and whatnot. So they were a force to be reckoned with for sure, and they had much more advanced planes than the British, the French, and even the Soviets. And the Soviets actually had a research agreement with the German Reich even before the Molotov-von Ribbentrop Pact. Germany wasn't allowed to have any sort of air force after World War I. So the Germans actually had secret air bases set up in Russia so that they could operate and test new planes, while also under the kind of ruse of training Soviet soldiers, which they did, but not to as much of an extent as they could have. We will increase the production of our heavy bombers and fighters. I just think it's important to kind of try and build up some sort of defense against the Germans. As for our dockyards, we're just going to have them infinitely produce these ships. There's no use in just stopping production at 10 or something like that. And they will be distributed automatically to different fleets, which I hope will work out. We can see here that we have the Baltic float. Float is the Russian word for fleet. Let's see, and we'll probably give them, maybe a capital ship armor, seeming that they do have 2 battleships. And this is the Baltic underwater float, or fleet. And we will give them some submarine attacks, seeming they are all submarines. So, and we will just tell them to do a great deal of convoy raiding. Well, I guess here for now. Later into the war, though, they will be able to kind of interdict, do a lot of trade interdiction in the English Channel, and hopefully even in the Iberian coast and the Western Mediterranean Sea to intercept the Spanish, German, and hopefully Italian shipments, which would definitely mean a crippling of their economic situation. Here, we'll just have these guys on search and destroy. There's not much they can really do for now. Again, these sea routes haven't really opened up as far as one might want. We do have free dockyards. I forgot about that. So we will we are producing a lot of submarines, so it seems like we're in the kind of trade interdiction area. So I guess we'll just add another dockyard there. We do have no divisions of basic training, but I'm going to hold off because we actually still need to reinforce a lot of our existing divisions and upgrade a lot of their equipment. So we'll dismiss that. And we do have a lot of unassigned divisions. So yes, I am using the Road to 56 mod, colored buttons. I'm using no experience for division design just because I don't like when I have to edit a division, it costs actual experience. So I just would like to be able to edit a division, and that's the new division. I'm using enhanced battle sounds, I believe, so it's got new gun firing noises, and as you see, these guys actually talk in Russian. Yep. So, okay. Here's another fleet. The destroyers and submarines. I will tell the submarines to just do. I mean, there's not many shipments coming through this area, so I might actually have them rebase over, what is it, control right click? Yeah, that's what it is. So they're rebasing to Leningrad, and we'll just also tell them to do some convoy raiding here, even in the English channel too, and we can assign them a new Sergei, which is fun. And then the northern fleet, we can just give them spotting chance. They do have a lot of destroyers, so we can have them, could actually have them escorting convoys, which wouldn't be a bad idea. And we will assign these guys to Leningrad as well. It is quite the large naval base. So, I believe they were assigned there. Let me just check. Was it the Severny Fort? No, they're still in Murmansk. So let me just quickly try and change that. Why is it not working? Is it control right click? Is that what I'm mistakenly doing? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that should be set. And we do have, yes, of course. We do have some divisions up here. Finland can be a bit finicky. You know, I believe they do become socialist at some point, or maybe not, you never know, but it would be nice to take their land. So we will definitely prepare some divisions for that. In the meantime, though, what I'm going to do is select all the NKVD divisions. That's not what I meant to do. That is also not what I meant to do. Yeah, we're going to select all the NKVD divisions and phase them out of the actual front lines. Just because they're less effective fighting force, they're lower priority than all these other divisions. They don't have as good, the quality of their weapons isn't as high, and their division design just has less actual infantry in it. So they're more meant as a, like a police de force, or kind of like a militia almost. I accidentally just deselected one, but that is fine. We'll add them into like an NKVD army, I guess. Oh goodness, where's my typing ability? So we'll just put them on low priority, and we will have them actually just garrison areas. Let me just pause it. We did just finish our 5-year plan. Great Purge, it sucks to do, but we're gonna have to do it at some point. We're gonna do armament factories right now. So we'll just have these guys be red because it looks cool. And then we will just garrison certain areas. So Moscow, Ariol, where else would be good? Smolensk, Kaliningrad. Grad is city. Leningrad, and maybe in the south too. Yeah, actually, Stalingrad. That is historically where a humongous battle took place, I believe, in 1942. Is where soldiers of both the Soviet and German armies clashed. Rhineland was remilitarized, so if any of you guys are familiar with World War I and the Treaty of Versailles, the Rhineland was off limits and could not have soldiers in it because it bordered France, basically giving France reassurance that no one was going to invade them. So anyways, yes, in Stalingrad during World War II, there was a massive fight that basically, you know, it bore the name of Stalin himself, which, you know, if the Russians had lost, Hitler believed it would be a massive blow to the morale of the Soviets. So anyways, here's one more NKVD division. We'll give it to this guy, and there we go. Oh, I actually named the... This should be the NKVD army, or it doesn't really matter. And we'll just call this like the NKVD garrison force or whatever. Anyways, let us... I'm curious how many troops you can send over here. It would be nice to send some volunteers, and we're actually allowed to send 5. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is send 5 tank, not divisions, but I guess units. Yeah, units. Divisions, corpus. This one's actually more prepared than the other. Some of them don't have enough equipment, which is a shame. We'll just select all of the tanks for now and phase out ones that aren't completely prepared. So there's about 5. It's close enough. We will form our own division here, our army. We'll give them a commander who has high armor speed and division attack, Ivan Gonev. And he's actually level 5, so that'll be good. I think that's the best choice. So we will choose Ivan as our general. We'll give him a gold for his color. And then we're going to send these guys over to help defend Republican Spain, who has just declared war against nationalist Spain. It's a very difficult conflict. And as you'll see, usually Russia sends, Soviet Union sends volunteers to Republican Spain, while nationalist Spain, they get reinforcements, usually from Germany. And it's not only troops, but it is aircraft and tanks. They're quite heavily supplied by Germany. It was the first chance, really, that Germany got to test out its new shiny air force that, they didn't know how effective it would be. But the scientists who were behind that program were very smart. They made some amazing advances with engine technology. Only, was it 1936 now? And during World War II, only 20 years prior to this, planes had never been used in combat before. So it's a very new concept, but it's, ever so quickly evolving during this time. And we do have a deficit of rubber, like I said. So we'll talk to British Malaya and offer 2 civilian factories for their rubber in I feel like a fair trade. And while our forces are in transfer, what are these fools doing here? I mean, I did tell them their home fleet is Leningrad, and they can't travel here because we know too little about the region, apparently. So once we get some allies, we'll be able to change that around. Now we'll grab a few troops, which would be great. I don't know why NKVD is still here. So we'll grab a few troops for an eventual invasion of Finland. But actually, since our reinforcements or our volunteers just arrived, we're going to draw up some Battlelands plans. And we are going to try and take Zaragoza. That front line is a bit too long, so we're not going to have them cross the river. We'll just go these 4, and we'll try and quickly kind of take them here. Taking back the nationalist capital. And I hope that Republican Spain can hold long enough so that they don't give up Madrid. If they do, it's not the end of the world, but it really is a tough battle. And sometimes it isn't, but we'll see. Let's just have the tanks push in now. They do not outnumber, but the tank strength compared to infantry is just ridiculous, and there weren't many tanks involved in this war. It was a mainly infantry guerrilla fought kind of war between these two sides. We have researched electronic mechanical engineering, so actually we're going to just decrease our research time again, which will really help. Now, back to what I was saying about forces in Finland. We'll even include some cavalry in there. I don't want to discriminate. Maybe a tank division or 2. So here, we have 14 divisions. We'll go for a few more. 23 and 24. That's perfect. So we'll make a new army. We'll give him red too, but we're going to actually put him into a new theater, which we'll just call the Northern Theater. Okay. And yeah, we gave him the red color. And we are going to assign them a winter attrition and armor speed bonus, which will actually be great. And this is a very, very experienced general, Georgy Zhukov. We're just going to put a bit of a front line around the southern area of Finland. And that way we can just kind of take Helsinki and go wrap around. And once, if our men are successful, they can take the northern area. And it's no big deal if these Finnish troops take this kind of northern bit. No one really cares about Russia up here. And we may have a few planes. We do have a few. We can actually just check our general air force here. We do have a lot of planes assigned in Vladivostok. We can actually just open up the air bases that are occupied currently and move planes around, or remove air wings altogether, which I'm going to do just because I don't like the numbers. And I will come back to that in a moment. I'm just going to check on Spain for now and see how they're doing here. So the tanks are actually doing well. They're getting a little caught up in the mountains, which is unfortunate. So I'm going to tell this guy to just kind of take some territory here. And we did take Zaragoza, which is great. We are defeating this infantry group. So hopefully these units can really just advance. And I'm gonna micromanage them for a moment here, just so we can take as much territory as possible. And these guys are taking attrition, which is unfortunate, but there's not much you can do, especially crossing this river. And we should win that battle there. So I'm going to pause it and work back with my Air Force here. So we did just kind of recycle all of our units that we currently have. So we're going to go to this and Alanets. We do not have many fighters, but we do have a lot of interwar fighters. So we'll put 100 interwar fighters. Maybe 100 interwar bombers and 50 heavy bombers. Now these guys we will assign right into this lower part of Finland. And what's great about this mod is that it adds realistic air missions. So your fighters can do not only air superiority, but they can also do close air support, so they can attack tanks on the ground. Like in actual war, your fighters didn't have to have bombs to take out tanks. They had machine guns. Now, if we want to check out Finland and see if they do have an air force of their own, which they may have a few planes, but they don't currently. So what we can do is actually just tell them to do close air support, strategic bombing, and strategic bombing. So when the time comes for an invasion, we won't have to worry about fighting their planes. We can worry more about taking out their troops with our air force and their factories, which will make it harder for them to resupply their troops. And we'll worry about putting more planes on this front later. It's not too much of a bother. We're actually just going to change his color to something that's a little bit more noticeable. Purple or something like that. Okay, so we have a lot of troops left, which I believe I'm just going to select them and give them a front along the Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. And for that reason is that I would also like to gobble up some of that territory. I believe it would be very helpful to us to have some more densely populated territory with factories and more manpower. Although manpower isn't a problem for Russia, it can be once you start getting into scraping the barrel and other things, because you really start to lose your ability to kind of function as a nation when you're getting huge negative modifiers to your production. And I did just deselect all those guys. I apologize. So yeah, we're just gonna plan a few invasions of neighboring territories for now. Nothing crazy, but we will take this, and we'll probably lose a lot of these guys. Field Marshal Mikhail Tukachievsky. He probably won't last, unfortunately. We'll probably lose him and have to, get some new generals. But so is life when you're purging all of your officers out of paranoia. So we're going to select this guy. we are going to select half of these divisions and assign them here. And another 27 divisions are assigned there. So that's actually perfect. These 3 can join in wherever they'd like. And as I don't see any other free divisions down here, there may be some. There's some along this southern border, and we're actually going to make a kind of like a southern front. It won't be a front, it's just going to be to hold back the Turkish forces when they inevitably join the Axis with Hitler. And we will give them, I don't know, an orange, a little orange hue, and nothing crazy. We'll just give them some unknown Kuzma Galitsky. And we'll just assign them to this border. Whoops, I have no clue what I just did. I may have clicked on the ocean. Now, it's possible for Iran and Afghanistan, all these guys, to declare on me. I doubt they will. And we have a few more NKVD divisions that I'm just going to add to these guys over here. And I assume there are more over here as well. There are indeed. And we do have to be afraid of Japan, because Japan, once they join the Axis, will invade if we don't put enough men along this border. I don't think Xinjiang, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, will be attacking us, but we will form a new army, put it in a new theater, and this will be our Eastern Front. And not the typical Eastern Front like Hitler's, but an Eastern Front with the Japanese. So there we go. Quite a few NKVD I didn't... Oh, you know, it's because I accidentally selected them. You know what, that's fine. They can stay here. I'm not ready to discriminate. If you want a few inexperienced guys, they can do whatever. Now, is there anyone with... This guy is winter attrition, and we could promote him, which would be very helpful. Although it doesn't get very winter up here. Out of supply would be great, but he is skill level 3, so at that point it's a little bit sacrificial. Let's just give him Grigori Kulik. We'll give him red too, just because it looks cool. So hopefully that'll stave off the a Japanese invasion once war begins. Here we have more fleets. I think I will actually join up, merge these 2 fleets. I know they have a destroyer in there, but there's not much you can do. We're going to actually promote a new commander. And we'll have these guys do... there's not much we can do here, unfortunately, just because we're going to be blocked out from the Bosphorus Strait once everyone joins the Axis here. So what we can do is convoy escort, really. Just make sure that our convoys get through here in case someone is sending their submarines into this area, which Romania and Turkey could do. And as for this other fleet here, we'll just assign them to search and destroy. Try and take out anything that's in the Black Sea. And with Crimea, what we can actually do is put some torpedo bombers in here and just assign them to the Black Sea as well. So we'll just tell them to do naval strikes on ships. And hopefully that will take out any great threat against us. So here we are. It's not looking too poor of a situation. Waiting for some sea routes to open up. And we do, I believe, have some more ships over here. We'll merge these 2 guys. Give them a new commander. Udenich. Oh, excuse me. And I think we'll simply do... There's no way we can escort our convoys all the way across the sea, so instead I think we'll just do some convoy raiding along Japan. Try and deprive them of some vital resources in the first few months when they join the war before they just completely wipe out our divisions. And let us resume. So here we have our tanks. Unfortunately, they can't be helping much right now, so we're just going to advance and do what we can to take some more territory, kind of micromanage this. Both of these guys are moving in here. So we're just actually going to try and encircle this guy. And both of them, hopefully. That one is moving in, as this tank could probably help this guy out and honestly win a battle. Maybe not. These guys are actually moving towards Madrid, so once they leave, we can encircle these guys even more. There we go. a poor mistake by the AI, but there's not much you can do. Their guys will be cut off here. Well, actually, that was smart of them to attack me. It prevented me from moving, but they are also stuck where they are, so they can't retreat. This one tank here is really struggling with this mountains. I probably shouldn't have had him attack in the mountains, but what can you do? And there we go. We do have an encirclement, which is quite good. I'm just going to tell this guy to go down here and kind of push into that battle. Actually, I hope that they'll take care of it themselves. Let me try and help this guy out here. And things are going slightly slowly. And it doesn't look like I can actually base any planes here, so I might want to change that. I'll ask for military access, and a non-aggression pact would be great. And this would be a huge help, especially to France, so they don't have to worry about a fascist ruler to their south, which would really hurt France in a big way. We finally won that battle. Let's see what we can do here. So I don't believe we can actually assign any aircraft over in Spain. Sorry about that. We could do a non-aggression pact, which is good. Unfortunately, I just can't base any planes here. So we'll have to figure something out. We are winning battles. Not all of them, though. And these guys are taking a lot of attrition, which is good. Although they are kind of trying to sneak back in. We can actually see how the war is going right now. If you go to current wars, we'll see that Spanish Civil War is 1% in favor of the aggressors. Nationalist Spain and Republican Spain have taken similar losses. And we do now have an ability for a new focus, and we will just up our political power here. Luckily, we seem to be winning these fights as well. All is good. Okay, so this looks like a mod event, a little messed up, but the Turkish Straits question, the Bosphorus and the Dardanelles have been demilitarized by the Lausanne Treaty. So I guess we're giving it to the Turks because we trust they won't join the Axis. Surprise, they will. But we don't want it falling into, say, Nazi hands, which would be disastrous. And we did a good job of holding back the Republicans there. So they're actually, looks like they're putting most of their troops on this front with us, which is good. So we'll try to quickly win this war. Now, we could do concentrated industry. Our country is going to get bombed to hell. It can up the amount of factories we have in a state, and we actually have a huge amount of territory. So although I believe it was in the first few months of the war, Hitler took, I think, about 40% of Russian territory. No, the amount of territory that Hitler took had 40% of Soviet population living within it. So the Soviet Union almost lost 40%. They did. They lost 40% of their population within the first few months of the war. I believe it was like 65% of their production, and maybe as close to half of their resources, which is just ridiculous. They were really disadvantaged from the start of the war, and it was actually a surprise that they were able to pull anything out of what their situation was. We do have a few more military factories now, so we can up our support equipment production. Maybe our motorized as well. We do have a few units of spare rubber. And we are producing some fighters. We need 66 more for upgrades, which is great. Let's just slowly push in here. Yeah, mountains are not good for us, so we'll just try and avoid the mountains for now. Actually, I'm going to keep my troops there. The tanks down here are not doing too great, and it looks like they've honestly pushed all of their troops up north to just combat this tank offensive. So if I was able to just sneak, one unit down, I think we could really wreak some havoc. And that is what we're going to do here. So hopefully we can stave them off with what we have right now. But we're just going to cut them off a little bit here. Hopefully it doesn't take him too long to move here. 5 hours. Yeah, we've got them. So they are indeed cut off and will be suffering attrition accordingly. Yeah, and they have terrible organization. Yeah, we're just going to eat their lands up right here. And yep, as you can see, there are German forces, so they have been supplied by Germany. We do have a nice little encirclement here, so we will be able to take them out. And yeah, as you can probably hear, the battle sounds are quite nice. So you can hear that it's changed quite a bit. Their new sounds for the weapons, even when, I believe, when the Americans come into the war, you can hear the kind of telltale click of when an M1 Garand is out of ammo, or, you know, you're reloading and there's a cling, which I'm a big fan of that sound. Maybe I'll add in a sound effect just so you guys can hear. It's really satisfying. You know, we're actually just going to go to Bilbao and take the port. I don't know why I haven't yet. It's a city, lots of supplies there. Let's see, as for their troops, they're still moving more of them north. So I might avoid these... man, I'm going to try and avoid the German troops completely and just go for the cities, really. I know it's not exactly the most fair, but if we can really hit them where it hurts, take some cities, it might make a big difference. So it looks like they're just kind of traveling through the lands here. I mean, having a rough time, obviously. We'll try and cut these guys off, though. As for Madrid, they're kind of avoiding it right now. They do have, you know, a brigade here, Republican Spain. It's not the best, though. And this kind of mountain territory is also not very conducive to moving tanks quickly, so let's see. We're gonna keep trying to fight. They have low organization and low supply. Oh, and they moved out of that territory, which is great. And here we go. The movement should be much faster now. These German troops are cut off, and the nationalist troops will soon be cut off as well. So let's just try and give them some help. They are moving down to Malaga, and a lot of troops too. I don't know if they're going to have that be their last stand or something like that. It is quite interesting to see what they're doing, though. We'll just have a little attack here. See what we can do. And that last tank is actually moving up. I would like to try and help them take these guys out here, but it looks like they're actually losing that battle, so I'm just going to let them do what they can, kind of let them take some more attrition. Taking Burgos would be great. Just taking out another capital would really help out. But this encirclement is actually taking a lot longer than expected. So if we could, you know, help these guys out. They're a super low organization, and their equipment isn't great. They do have defensive capabilities, though, because of the mountains that they're in, so that will, of course, give them an advantage, but not for long against Russian tanks. We'll just kind of move in here and scoop up some more territory, I believe. Moving into the mountains there is going to take a while, so we'll try and avoid those. You know, 3 hours to move, not too bad, and another 7 hours to move. So these guys are moving at a breakneck pace, really. Taking a lot of territory in a short time. It's, you know, it's not exactly a blitzkrieg, but it's quick. So yeah, hopefully we can take this place quite quickly, just take a few more cities. We can do a quick check back on Russia, see how everything's going, you know. And we were just doing focuses, time's passing. We're building more factories. It's not the fastest, but we're getting there. And I might take a break on this. You know, they almost just escaped there, which is not the greatest of things. We do need to get some organization back. And maybe if we could spare another tank division, but I don't think so. Let's see, they're really hurting, but at the same time, it's it's tough because of their position in the mountains. And let's just attack here and see if we can kind of push them back. Now that we're here, I'd like for them to stay there, but they're kind of trying to follow orders right now, so not much we can do with that. We are at 91%, or 93, 94, so we will win this battle, I believe. This unit's almost completely gone. I mean, these guys have no way of resupplying themselves. Their organization is just awful. So I believe if we just do a coordinated attack on this one province, they will lose 6 units. I'm not sure how many guys that consists of, but we are pushing them back. They've lost 36k, 18k. So their losses are actually almost double ours now. So, and it's not even my war, but it's a great place to prove your troops. If you look here, these guys are experience level 12. So they're actually becoming quite veteranized, if that's a word. They're getting a lot of experience. Bringing their fighting strength back up will actually bring their experience level down, because we'll have to bolster their forces with more fresh recruits, but it is worth it just because it's not going to completely negate the fact that we have very skilled men. Okay, so that's good. Czechoslovakia is fortifying their borders. As you can see, they're right here. They're kind of surrounded by a lot of their German Reich, and once the Anschluss happens, Austria will also be taken, so they will quite literally just be surrounded. So fortifying these borders could give them the possibility to actually defend if they didn't want to go against the German Reich. Now, hopefully this war will end soon if we are able to take their capital. We do have a tank division with very, very low organization, which is unfortunate, and I believe, we'll save them here actually, which is great. I'll get this guy out of here. I don't want to risk it. So now everyone's back together. The gang's all here. And we are pushing forward. And we did just take their new capital, so things are going downhill for them. They've lost quite a few men, 75k. Hopefully this will be a quicker war. And then I think after that we will stop there, because this is quite a big event in the history of World War II. It really, when National Spain won, it was a great way for Germany to test their troops, and it kind of surrounded France by fascists. And we did just finish Construction 1. This is a little bit ahead of its time, so we'll do Resource Gain Efficiency instead. And let's resume this time. We may even want to speed it up a little bit. It is a bit high, but we'll just make sure things don't get out of hand here. And we are pushing them back ever so slowly. They do have 9 men here, so we do want to be careful of that. We don't want to get, things to get out of hand. And now here we have men. I honestly it would be nice to tell them to kind of try a little encirclement. And where's their new capital? It's over here. Interesting. Okay. And the rest of the tanks are pushing in against these guys, which may not be the best of ideas. I'm actually going to tell them to stop and go here. I think that fight actually has more merit to it. I'm going to tell these guys to kind of go around into this port city. Pull back some more troops. And look how fast they're just traveling. They really just pulled back a lot of men from that front. We are losing here, so we may not... Well, look at that. And we did finish the Stalin Constitution, so we are going to go for Sotsrealism. Just get some more political power, which would be great. And we can modify our government. We currently have a civilian economy. Going to partial mobilization would really help us, just in production-wise. We have an export focus. We can go to limited exports, which gives us more resources for us to use. We are currently using a volunteer-only army, and that's most of our resources already, or political power, if you want to consider that a resource. So there you have it. That is probably helping us out quite a lot. We'll check our trade, or even our production here. We have a surplus of almost everything, and we even have a surplus of rubber, but it's kind of close, so we have to be careful about that. Now, they're trying to cut off this tank division, so I'm just going to keep the pressure on them here. I don't know why we're pulling around here. It does look like we've made quite the breakthrough, though, and this war is going to be over quite quickly. We have pushed the nationalists back. There's not much they can do now. We have the main ports. We have their capital cities. They're left with a few meager settlements. They do have ports, but there's not much they can do now. This is a lost cause for the nationalists and ultimately for Hitler as well, so it was not a good proving ground for his first war. And although I'm sure they have air superiority here, Hitler may have pulled his planes out by now. And the Berlin Games are concluded. So there you have it, folks. Berlin, Jesse Owens. A little bit of defiance towards these fascist Nazis. And you gotta say, you know, the Wehrmacht, they were pretty badass. They were just a very cohesive fighting unit who had great weapons and an ability to fight, but the SS and the fascist Nazi ideals were just terrible. So you gotta give them credit where credit is due. They made quite the war machine, but besides that, it was a terrible period in history, and we're just gonna keep, you know, surrounding them. There's not much we can do, you know, other than just take more land. Persia denies British access. The Iranian people will not accept the unreasonable demands of the British. Iranian land will not host foreign entities. So there you go. A lot of these countries are taking on their own little independence. As for this guy, I don't know why we haven't taken this area yet. Honestly, this war should be over soon. And indeed, it almost is. Oh, damn, they took Bilbao back, really? I didn't realize that we had given them that opportunity. And it looks like Japan sent some volunteers in too, which is very interesting. You can see they're styled differently than some of the other guys in this game. And the losses of this war just must be ridiculous. Almost 100,000 already. 30,000 here, 100,000, 30,000. Those are some very high losses for the modern day. You know, 1936, it was regular. I wouldn't say regular, but, you know, after seeing the horrors of World War I, and knowing about the horrors of World War II, you come to expect millions of dead, which is not the greatest thing. But and we even took their capital. I'm not sure how they're still holding on. It definitely should be over by now. But we will just keep on keeping on. Take out as many of their forces as we can. And it's unfortunate that they'll keep fighting. They really have no chance left when you see that this is Republican Spain and this is Nationalist Spain. But life will go on. We will keep fighting for the Republicans, for the advancement of communism. And you know what? With that being said, in that same grain, we are actually going to boost the popularity of communism in France, because they do have focuses to join the communists. Usually that doesn't happen because I put on the historical focuses, but it's interesting sometimes. And there we have it, everyone. Republican Spain took 11 states, Nationalist Spain was annexed, and 1010 equipment has been seized. So the war is officially over. The Republicans are in control of Spain. The German Reich does not have an ally to the south of France. What will happen next time? Maybe we'll invade Republican Finland, or Republic of Finland. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania get some new territory for the Soviet Union, and hopefully prepare for the impending doom of World War II, the German Reich, Japan, Italy, Turkey. It is a world war. Anyways, folks, I've been Popolamma. If you've liked the video, please leave a like. If you disliked, please hit the thumbs down and let me know why in the comments. It's been a great time. Consider subscribing, and peace.